What's going on, YouTube? It's that auto rebuilder guy here. What's going on, everybody? We got the RX8 in this mess of a garage. As you can see, I gotta get this garage cleaned up. I can't do this. So you see water on the floor there. We had an issue yesterday where water was pouring all over the passenger side floorboard. It's never a good thing, right? You don't want water inside the car. I already knew what it was as soon as I saw it, and my brother was like, it dripped on my foot and it was freezing cold. I was like, oh, that's the air conditioning condensation. I knew that it was going to be from a plugged up drain valve. The thing is, I don't know where the drain valve is on this, or I didn't, until I looked it up on Google, thanks to the RX8, I think it's rx8club.com. That is a great place for information on these things. You're not going to be able to see it because I couldn't even see it, but somewhere in the abyss, way down here on top of the transmission, is that little drain valve. And I had to finagle my arm down in there, and it really didn't even fit. And then I just kind of squished it around and played with it until we ended up with a giant puddle on the floor. So that was a new issue that is now fixed, and unfortunately I didn't record it. But it wouldn't have done any good anyway. You guys couldn't have seen what I was doing. Here we have some of the parts that we're replacing. These, I believe, are the two lower control arms, one for the left, one for the right. This, I think, is more like a track bar. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think this is basically like a track bar, and these are the control arms. We're going to be replacing those. The fourth piece is going to be delivered today. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and just bust into this now and get the rear end taken apart so we can get all this knocked out. Because I'm hoping to get it in for an alignment today and, you know, get the results back from that to see if there's any other suspension issues that we need to be worrying about. So instead of sitting here and talking your ears off, let's get this thing up in the air and let's get to work.
I swear to no revolution. It's a shotgun in the dark, running from my demons. And your hands shake when you lose faith in your reasons. So let it burn, brighter than it ever did. America showed us how to lose our innocence. Just kids, greatest life that ever lived. Young blood, stronger than it's ever been. We rise over.
Alright, so that's going to be the end of this portion of the video. I'm not going to do the other side. You watch us do one side. The other side's going to be exactly the same. No sense in wasting time, but, you know, it is what it is. This is straight. That one under there is now straight. So it wasn't that bad. This wasn't a very difficult job. It wasn't all that expensive, so can't complain too much. I'd like to give a big shout out and thanks to my ugly ass brother, who spent a good portion of his time with a ratchet under the car before I had the ingenious idea, if I don't say so myself, of
baby arms.
If I don't say so myself, I had the idea of using a swivel in conjunction with a what the hell is this? An electric air gun. I forgot what it's called. It's an earthquake, all right? I pulled out my earthquake, and I made the ground shake. Yeah, so my brother's on there just tirelessly working his ass off on getting this bolt out that just wasn't coming out. It was a real pain. And I feel bad that I didn't think about it sooner, but yeah, we ended up using the earthquake with a swivel, and it was able to knock it out in like 3 seconds. And he was under there he was really busting ass on it. So I want to show you what we're doing right here. What we're doing here is putting a load on the suspension before we torque it down. A lot of people don't know this, but most cars do not like you to tighten the suspension before it has a load on it. If you were to tighten this down while everything was still, unsprung, when you tighten it up and then you put the tension back on, it puts a lot of tension on these bushings, and it can cause them to fail prematurely. So what I like to do is put a jack stand underneath the control arm, or in this case, this is the whole hub assembly here. Oops. I like to put a jack stand under it, drop the car down, put all the weight of the car on the jack stand, and this puts tension on all of the suspension components. And once I have that tension, then I torque down all of the bolts, and then we'll jack it back up, take the jack stand out, put the tire back on, and this side is finished. Then we'll come back and talk about it when we're done with the other side. Alright, so the conclusion... Shit. Yeah, ran into the door. Alright, so in conclusion, at least for this video, here's what we've got. We've got some pretty nasty weather moved in, so had to pick everything up. I know I got a carport, but still I don't trust it entirely, so had to come out here and just make sure everything was picked up. I've got a bird in the garage. You can see him in the window there flying around. Poor guy. Hey there, birdie. Poor fella. He seems to be having a little bit of trouble flying. That was unexpected. Well, I'm gonna leave him alone. You just never know what's gonna happen here, right? Calm yourself, guy. You're gonna hurt yourself. So yeah, it's dark in here. I'll show you what we got going. Basically, this project has been put on halt for the rest of the day. Hopefully tomorrow we can finish it and hopefully get an alignment and find out if we got anything else going on with the suspension. I'm going to pull this stuff out so it's easier to see out here in the light. We got all the parts off, but wouldn't you know it, one part is scheduled to be delivered by UPS or FedEx today, and it's 7 o'clock at night and it hasn't showed up. So obviously the alignment shop is closed. They may be closed tomorrow too, I don't even know. But I wanted to show you what we got here anyway, and you'll just have to stay tuned for the next one. We'll talk about that in just a second as well. So these are obviously bent. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the bend in these, right? Now this one by far is the worst. This one got it bad. But every one of these is bent. All right, there's no denying that. Now I've had several people, come to Copart's defense and say, how do you know it was from Copart? The answer is obviously I don't know that it's from Copart, but let me tell you why I suspect it's from Copart. Take any one of these bent rods and you will see that shiny scrape on the bottom. Let's take a look at another one. See the rusted scrape on the bottom? Now I had some people say, well, because it's got some rust on it, and that probably happened a long time ago. Well, keep in mind the car was sitting at Copart for over a year. We saw a sticker on the windshield that was from 6 of 2017. Now let's look at this arm. What is this? The same shiny scrape running down it?
Starting to see a pattern here. I wonder if this last one has a big shiny scrape going across it too. Oh, it sure does. This is why I am 99.9% certain this was damaged by Copart. We've got the same shiny scrapes on the same places of all four of these components. One was on the passenger side, one was on the driver's side. They're bent in similar areas, okay? The forks basically went in and just put the weight of the car on these components here. And I have seen at Copart where the cars are literally bouncing up and down on those forks, just bouncing. It was never designed to handle the weight of the car on those few components right there, you know, especially not in those areas. If it had been slid into a curb, which is totally possible, sliding into a curb could have done the same damage. The problem is, you wouldn't have those shiny scrapes on all four of these pieces. Two of them are the control arms. These are your control arms right here. And these, I believe, are called traction bars or lateral bars, something like that. You could jump over a curb, but wouldn't you only have one side of your car bent? Like, you would have had to have smacked into a curb with this in and then gone over the curb and then come back around and then slid the opposite way to have been, for these all to be bent the same direction, which is bent upwards. All right. This didn't happen by spinning out and hitting a curb. Flat out. Did not happen. You would have had one bent one way, one bent another direction. There's no way these things would have the exact same damage and the exact same scrapes. This was done by something that had the forks on it, which is those things they tote these cars around on. And as I showed you, the front control arms also have that same scraping and damage on the front. So does part of the underbelly of the car, because they haul them around with forks. It's just the way it is. So here's what I recommend. If you are going to get a car from Copart, you should probably take pictures at the lot. I would highly recommend you take pictures underneath the car while you're at the lot. All right? Getting us some light here. Take pictures of all four corners underneath so that you have some kind of evidence if the car gets damaged that it wasn't damaged when you were out there bidding on it and then it was damaged after. Now you can see we have, see if we can get under here. We've got this bar replaced. We're waiting on what I call the traction bar in the back. That's the one piece we're waiting on. And if you climb under the car and have a look, you can see now how straight these pieces are. This is the way it's supposed to look. So, a lot of people saying, you know, the car was listed with mechanical damage. Chances are that is the damage that totaled it through the insurance. I don't think so. What was the damage that totaled it? I couldn't tell you. It doesn't have any hail damage. I don't see any damage on the car anywhere other than that rear end. So, hey, it's also a possibility, perhaps, a tow truck was towing the car for one reason or another. I mean, it's unlikely, but perhaps a tow truck wrapped a giant chain around each one of these. You know, this big piece, this little piece, and that big piece and that little piece. It's possible a tow truck did that and the insurance company totaled it. But again, I doubt it. The car books at like $6,100. I have a hard time believing it. Even OEM, these parts are about $250 a piece. It's $1,000. So I can't see labor for this being over $1,000 to $1,500. I mean, even that seems pretty high. So you're talking $2,500. There's no way that should have salvaged this car. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why this car was at Copart. I don't know why it was an insurance car. I can't tell you. But I can tell you, we got to get out of here. This rain isn't letting up. FedEx/UPS has not showed up, so this video's got to be put on hold till tomorrow, at least the conclusion of replacing the rear end, and then finding out, more importantly, if there's any other suspension damage. That's what I'm curious to see. Is it going to take an alignment, or is there going to be, you know, further issues? With that being said, I may not have a video coming out for the next 2 days, but I'll do my best to get one, at least car related. because I have a family situation that requires me to go to Dallas sometime tomorrow morning, early afternoon. And you know, it's not a good situation. I don't want to get into what it's about, but it's a really sad day. I have to go to Dallas, or we have to go to Dallas, I should say, and we will probably be there. In fact, I know we'll be there until sometime Monday afternoon, at which point we can come back to the house and hopefully get some more work done on this. So depending upon what time this part shows up, if it shows up tonight, we may be able to get this last piece on, get it to the alignment shop first thing in the morning, and then perhaps I can at least give you an update video for tomorrow, and then you'll only have to wait, you know, probably till Tuesday before my next car video. So I guess with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. I know I ramble on sometimes. I appreciate you guys taking time to watch. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Don't hesitate to leave me a comment, even if I don't respond. I typically read almost all of them. And stay safe out there, guys, and I'll catch you soon in the next one.